Few visitors to the Dallas Zoo could conceive that the chimpanzees on exhibit would pose a lethal threat to the public.
Do they look like they could ever be mean?
No, not really.
But when Judy, a 4-foot-tall, 87-pound chimp, escaped from the Wilds of Africa exhibit, zoo officials were calling it a code red. Judy, a recent transfer from the Tulsa Zoo, was apparently spooked by her new surroundings. She scaled an 18-foot-high wall, passed across electrical and barbed wires, and scratched one of her handlers just before eluding 3 blasts from a 12-gauge shotgun.
All shots were fired in self-defense or in defense of another staff member.
Dallas police and zoo emergency crews chased the chimp up a utility pole 4 blocks from the zoo.
But it wasn't moving. It just sat there the whole time.
And so, 14-year-old Patricia Palmer says she was shocked when a zoo veterinarian pointed a gun at the chimp and fired.
When they shot him with the tranquilizer dart, he started to get dazed and he walked down that way. And as he was walking, the wire, I guess, electrocuted him and caught him on fire, and then he fell into the alley right there.
The chimp died immediately. Zoo officials defend the decision to shoot.
We were hoping to tranquilize her so that we could retrieve her unharmed.
What was she going to do, go to sleep up there?
Potentially, or she could have climbed back down the pole, yes.
It was a miscalculation that will be explored in coming days, along with the reassessment of the barriers that keep dangerous animals in place. Brett Shipp, Channel 8 News.
In the gorilla escape that sent 300 zoo visitors running for safety, the park defends its security where a gorilla known as Jabari made it out of his exhibit to attack 4 people.
At this point, there's nothing we would have done differently up to this point because, yes, we felt secure with containment. And it has for 14 years.
Zoo officials are still unsure how Jabari escaped from his habitat. They believe once he made it out, he made his way down to the aviary. From there, he then started down a nature trail where he was eventually gunned down by police. Dallas tactical officers were set up by the trail's entry, clear from the area where the 4 wounded visitors were being treated for injuries.
So we simply didn't have the time to get to the point of darting or containing them, although our veterinarian was preparing all of that.
Zoo officials say its #1 priority was to secure visitors and say staff members did their job as planned. The zoo holds 4 emergency drills a year.
I don't know that we've done anything improperly, so I think we've done things exactly according to procedure.
Ironically, Linda Thompson and her children have spent the last several days touring the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens. But 3 or 4 times a week, they frequent the Dallas Zoo to see the animals, and more specifically, the primates.
The gorillas are my favorites, and we loved them all, but Jabari was more shy, and he wouldn't come out a lot, you know, and when we go to take pictures, he would hide behind things, and he thought if he was behind a tree, you couldn't see him, but he was so big that you could always see him enough to get a picture.
Linda took countless photos and videotape over the years.
And you're going to see Jenny. They just have whole different personalities. Patrick is a typical teenage boy about like this one. He likes to raise Cain and get in trouble. Jabari was real shy. Pretty soon.
The news of Jabari's escape, attacks on humans, and his ultimate death came as a shock to all of Linda's family.
When I told the kids, they all got really upset, especially him. He said, "Oh no, they killed my gorilla friend." "What's the matter, honey? You don't want to look at Jabari's picture?" Yeah.
Linda and her family plan to visit the Dallas Zoo this weekend.
He's taking a lot of pictures of them too.
And as soon as they can get back in to see the gorillas, they'll be there.
They're awesome. They're just beautiful. They were just like part of my family.
John Pronk, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
And then what are you guys doing with those calls once they come in?
The calls came in early and often today. A couple hundred people claiming to have seen the missing vulture. Some others wanting to help find it.
She was headed south when they last saw her,
leaving behind a very worried mate.
Come here, darling.
Jen Dunlap, an expert in exotic birds, says she's most likely searching for 2 things.
Open areas and It might it'd go for height.
He says that way she can look for food. Eric Newpert says she shouldn't be hard to spot if searchers come across her.
Well, she's a very different looking vulture, so it might be very easy if people know what they're looking for to find her out there.
Right now, though, they don't have any specific tactics to track her or draw her to a certain location.
At this point, what we're doing is relying on people helping us and reporting what they see.
And hoping what they see is a lost vulture, ready to come home. Jim Dunlap says if there's a chance of any bird surviving this ordeal, it's the vulture.
I'll tell you, I've lived with this one for 22 years, and she never ceases to amaze me.
The Dallas Zoo welcomes crowds the day after a gorilla got loose and attacked.
The gorilla had picked up her son and spun him around.
The injuries are healing.
All of us here are obviously very concerned about the people who were hurt.
But the question, what went wrong, lingers, and some wonder why the gorilla had to die.